Hello and welcome to Stroke by Stroke. I am going to start with Daler Rowney FW Sepia acrylic ink. And I added water first, and this is on mineral paint. Not mineral paint, I keep saying that. Mineral paper. And this is gold Daler Rowney acrylic ink. Yeah, I'm gonna do it that way. Okay. And this is just clear water. That was a cat bite. I'm gonna do one more drop right there, maybe two. And finally, Daler Rowney FW white acrylic ink. So this is all acrylic inks. And that was black. Oh, Maggie, hush, hush. I screwed up, and I added ivory black aquafine watercolor ink instead of the sepia. So, well, just do a few more to balance it out. Didn't realize that's what I was doing, but meh, you know. So it's acrylic ink and watercolor ink, even though I didn't realize that's what I was doing. And this is just plain water and a paper towel, because I want to dry it a little bit. The nice thing about this technique is I can change colors and materials, and the technique works pretty much every time, and gives very different results each time. So yeah, I really do enjoy doing this technique. And now I'm going to use a hairdryer on low only. And I'm going to use more paper towel. And it's gotten cold again. It was 80 yesterday, but yeah, actually more than 80 yesterday, but yep, it's like 40 right now. So anyway, my furnace, I named him Walter. I live in a trailer and my furnace is very loud, so that's something that shows up in the tutorials whether I want to or not. Well, and since I've done the ivory black aquafine watercolor ink, I guess I'll do some burnt umber. I will also do some Artfinity liquid watercolor primary yellow. Now I'll spritz. And the hair dryer again. Paper towels again. Make sure it's trying to run away on me. All right. And let's see here. This is Chinese white, and this is watercolor ink as well. And this time, instead of drops, I'm just gonna make marks. I've been doing a lot of dark images, and I don't really necessarily want to do that. I didn't mean to put the black in this. So, one way to fix that and lighten it all up is to use the white watercolor ink. And the reason I'm using watercolor as opposed to the acrylic is because this stays more transparent, so it doesn't come through and just block everything. So those were just random lines here. Spritz again. This one is kind of messy. Use my hake brush here. And so I have now made a light mud, but that's okay, because that actually will be a good ground for things. So more paper towels, and I'm just reusing them. And I would say these are done. And I'm coming back to my sepia acrylic ink. Just doing one line there. I'll do one at the top too. I'm going to do like a circle here. I thought this was going to be just a quick and easy tutorial, but this is becoming much more complicated. And I'm all right with that, because, you know, it is what it is, right? This is what happens. Sometimes when I make plans, almost always when I make plans, it doesn't quite do what I thought it was going to do. And this one is almost exclusively because I accidentally picked up black. Now I'm just using a pipette with water. All I'm doing is inviting the colors to go in the directions that I'm giving the water. My best friend is the one who taught me how to do watercolors. And she kind of changed my life when she said that it's really just a process of letting the water do its thing. It's watercolor. And it seems so simple, but it actually kind of changed my life when I realized that. So, all right. Now I'm going to do, this is the FW acrylic ink. All right, that's a lot of water on there. I'm going to do this. And for the water, or the paper towels, I honestly use the cheapest that I can find because, as you can see, I use a lot. and I don't care if it, if they fall apart easily, whatever. These are good enough for what I need. All right, now I'm gonna do this again. This is a cadmium yellow hue. This is watercolor ink. That was 5 drops. And this is the burnt umber watercolor ink. And the white acrylic ink again. Some water. Okay, so I'm spiraling and squeezing a little water out as I go. So I've made a very liquidy pool here. It's fascinating to me how I start an image with one thing in mind, whatever that is, and always it goes in a way I wasn't expecting. And I enjoy that sort of synchronicity and spontaneity. So this particular technique suits me very well, and it's a wonderful way for me to put the emotions onto a page that I might be feeling. This is just a watercolor or paintbrush that I've dried a little, and I'm just gonna do those rays. It's like that. And this image is a really great representation, honestly, of lately I've been feeling a lot of depression. Not quite sure why. I deal with depression a lot. And this is like a sun trying to shine through, and then it keeps hitting the muck. And I think that's kind of beautifully symbolic to how I'm feeling right now. It's like it's there, but things get in the way. Meaning the yellow is like, you know, the sun, the happiness, the, you know, whatever words I might want to use to describe it. And the more I try to get to it, the more muddled it all gets, until I'm kind of lost. And that's what this image is about. It's again a somewhat dried brush. I've also been having a lot of different emotions all at the same time lately, and honestly it's been making me feel crazy. And this image kind of shows that, I think, pretty well. You know, and I do have this tendency to say I'm going to do one thing and do something completely different in the middle of it. And I know for a fact that even if it's a mess, it is a very helpful and healing process of just moving the paint around and giving control of the image over to, you know, chance in some ways. Of course, I am doing things to sort of influence what the image is doing, but I have very little control, kind of by design here. That's why it's kind of hard to say if these are tutorials or what. But I have heard good responses from folks about these images and this process and the videos. There's definitely a disturbance in the force today. My cats are being cats. Alright, I'm going to use a larger filbert brush. And just going to come around here. And see, you can tell I used the ink, or the acrylic inks here, because it's not reactivating with the water, the browns and stuff. Anything that was an acrylic ink is that way. I'm going to do the edges like really dark, I think, because this image has suddenly become about my thinking and mental state lately. And it always is, whether I want it to be or not. But right now, it's sort of indicating to me the image is showing me. That's the really amazing part about like art therapy and why art is incredibly good for healing and exploring like things that might be really difficult to deal with. The art leads, that is kind of a term that art therapists will often use, and it's true. The interesting part about this is that this process, doing art, allows for the stuff that, the nonverbal, that's the word. It allows for the nonverbal to come in. I've heard it called pre-verbal, and I really like that term because things will start showing up in art that, if I'm paying attention, will begin to introduce things that I just don't have words for yet. And then the process of making the art allows for me to be able to find words for things that are pretty deep in my psyche that I may not have realized was there or not felt safe enough. So yeah, It's that to me is the beauty and incredible power of using art in a therapeutic way. And I'm not doing therapy, but I am doing therapeutic things. Sorry, words are starting to go away here because I'm really getting distracted by what this image is wanting to do and not wanting to do. And I'm listening to the painting. That's why I call these intuitive abstract paintings, because I really have no clue where I'm going with this, but the art is very much leading where I'm going. And I genuinely love that. It's just water. You can see the water's starting to get dirty, but I keep doing this kind of thing, like stars, like arms reaching or something. And I think that's kind of symbolic in a way of my brain reaching out. This is interesting because I have been feeling stuck in so many ways lately, particularly emotionally. And this reaching that is happening here, I think, is absolutely on the money for my emotions lately. So, yeah. And it's just fascinating to me how the art knew, because I wasn't thinking about that at all, not consciously. But obviously, subconsciously. And when I let go and just let it happen, let it, whatever wants to happen is going to happen, and I accept that, that's when I can begin to have like a dialogue, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. Having a dialogue with this art, a nonverbal dialogue. Now I'm just going to watch. And I'm just going to let it do. So that was the gold acrylic and the white acrylic that I did here in the center again. It's like I'm searching for the sun. And I'm reaching for the light, the healing, the nurturing. Yeah, that tracks. I think that's very much what this image is about. And I had no idea. I'm just going to come through with a wet and dried brush. And when I'm doing this, I am really not applying much pressure at all. I'm just skimming the surface and dragging. to reinforce those rays. Okay. And I'm going to use the hairdryer in the center on low. Actually, while I was drying that, it occurred to me that this is actually, and I didn't realize it when I started, but this is an image that belongs in my mental health series. And I think because it's about hope. This image is actually about hope. And someone I love very much is struggling a lot with not being able to find hope. And he's very, very dear to me. I won't say his name, but I will be sending this image to him because I'm searching for hope too. And this image, for me at least, really embodies that search for hope and the light, and trying to just break out of the darkness. For a long time in this image, I thought I was just doing something that was like a really pretty little sun or something. I didn't realize until long into it what I was actually doing. I guess that's not, it looked like it was hairs, but I don't think it is. There are hairs in here, both from my brushes and, of course, my animals. So this image is dedicated to my friend who is struggling, and anybody who is struggling to find light in the dark, to find hope, to find a way to greet the sun of a new day. Don't give up. It's there. It's just sometimes really hard to find. But don't quit. Don't stop reaching. Okay, this has been Stroke by Stroke. I hope you enjoyed this image. It ended up becoming very profound for me, and I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next video.